In the United Kingdom, surely great cities like this should have more power to stand on their own 2 feet as well.
The promise of English devolution as yet unfulfilled.
Arguments over the future of the UK have only just begun.
To initially explore the concept of devolution, splitting the group into individual cantons ended up in a kind of sprawling tapestry. The tapestry became a kind of physical embodiment of the concept of devolution.
We were taken across the ring road, which was very hectic.
Into what he would call the rough side of town, and around Lee Circle.
I thought that there were a lot of derelict buildings, high diversity of minorities, and the fact that a lot of refugees have settled there throughout the past few years.
Leicester to me lacks identity.
My first impressions actually were from the new walk, pedestrian walkway, which sort of acts as a channel running from the top of the hill, where there's a park all the way into the centre of the city, and that was a really nice introduction to the city actually.
I really enjoyed walking around the city because across the corner you'll meet someone else with different religious backgrounds or ethnicity.
We went to the most vibrant part of the city, which was a market.
I especially like the industrial area in Leicester. Interesting layering of different types of buildings.
It seemed quite fragile on one hand, but also quite resilient on the other hand. There was little pockets of history.
That kind of tells the story of a Leicester that was prosperous and successful.
This is now kind of obviously gone to rack and ruin.
They're watching events in Scotland and asking, what about us? Nathan Cornish, an urban developer, thinks the opportunity for devolution in England should be seized.
Arguments over the future of the UK have only just begun.
So my vision of it at first sight was sort of feeling like it would almost be better if it just went back to being completely wild.
All these layers of archaeological remains which are currently hidden under Leicester would be dug up and revealed. But on the site at the moment is a Travelodge hotel.
It used to be a factory area. I'm thinking to design a building which is floating in these artificial platforms.
The building became a stage for public interaction, enabling arrival into the city to be experienced through a sequence of spaces.
The relationship between the urban and the natural, and what's real and what might be unreal.
So that it becomes a sort of surprise or discovery as you find yourself winding your way through.
First, you encounter a street that mediates between two neighborhoods.
When you walk into the building, it gives you a kind of a streetscape experience.
Moving through and transforming the static elements of the architecture.
It seems as if it is almost like a utopian feeling. It is completely separated from the suburb and the industrial side and the city centre.
From here, you walk into the cheese storage, submerged into the canal water.
Industrial past the canal, it's more like a waste waterway. There's this kind of religious complex for water ceremony.
So you've got the kind of reflection of the industrial area, and then you've also got the kind of very permanent bays, and the whole idea behind it is that you've got kind of two timelines. You've got the timeline of the old, the permanent.
This idea of folding went on through different iterations of the model.
And then I'm creating a kind of a bus station and a public space.
on the story that George Osborne is set to announce plans to give sweeping new powers to large English cities, including housing, transport planning and policing.
The promise of English devolution as yet unfulfilled.
Arguments over the future of the UK have only just begun.